Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this, the Fireside chat of, well, slightly later than expected, but we're just getting our heads around this Facebook Live thing. We think we've sorted it out. There is a multitude of great technical personnel standing down at the fireside, at least at the final control, with Kirsten and Jerry and Louise and various others. And here we are, broadcasting to you live from the African wilderness by the fireside, which is, of course, a great African and indeed universal tradition, where we share stories and talk about interesting things that have happened to us, well, in this case, over the course of a week. We're going to be talking about cubs ostensibly today, a special time we've had with some cat cubs. There are, of course, no bear cubs in this area, and unfortunately our hyenas have absconded to Simbambili, so we haven't been looking at those cubs. First off, let's go and look at our queen and George and Charlotte, not their real names. Have a look at this. And
much lankier, but thinner. Oh, you can really see the size. Oopsie. Oh no. Pushed out of the tree.
they're both there. In fact, I think Mum's in there as well. I can't believe it. Look. So we moved round and we came to the other side. He looked at us briefly and then he started to continue to pig out on this impala. He's having a wonderful supper, this young fellow. That is too spectacular. So what an unbelievable... Bit of wind behind us, sorry about that. What an... Let me start that again. What an unbelievable sighting that was. Yes, thank you, Ben, shut up. And we've all been privileged to spend quite a lot of time with Karula's cubs in the last little while. Jamie, your particular highlight of those little things?
Oh, I think the moment when the male fell out of the tree and Karula just went around and nipped him on the stomach, I think was definitely the highlight. And what struck me was, for both of us, we lost the power of words. We giggled a lot.
Yes, we did.
You did in that sighting as well.
Embarrassingly so.
An embarrassing amount of giggling that happened there, but they were just so highly entertaining.
I mean, with you I find it quite fetching, but of me I just sound ridiculous, you know. I mean,
braying donkey comes to mind.
Yeah, brain donkey.
Braying donkey.
Braying donkey. Let's just stare awkwardly at the fire for a little while. When was your last sighting of them?
The same as yours, but I went. I was off that afternoon. I went and spent 2 hours there between drives, just sitting and taking some photographs.
And you took some lovely shots.
It was
posted
beautiful
on Instagram.
Yes, it was very, very nice, and also did a little bit of sort of habituation, because they sometimes a little bit nervous. So just starting the car, letting it ride, talking to myself. But it's some of the things you've got to do to get those leopard cubs nice and relaxed. Hopefully they'll be scurrying about under the car shortly.
Yes, well, hopefully not
Not
under
under
the
the
car. So they're 4 months old now, and I mean, in your experience, that would be, I mean, they should be pretty relaxed around vehicles by now, hey?
They should be, and they are. You definitely notice when there's more than 2 vehicles in the sighting, and they do change. So theoretically, we should be able to put 3 vehicles into the sighting now. But again, this is a judgment call, and each individual animal in sighting is different. And the same animal can behave completely different on a different day. So at the moment, I think we keep it to 2, give them some space, and that will hopefully keep them really nice and relaxed in the long run.
Now, I mentioned that the hyenas have absconded off to Simbambili, which is, of course, to the northwest of where we're sitting now. And Janine, you have a very good question. Do we think that Karula has been spending a little bit more time north of the boundary because the hyenas have moved? I'm going to pass this over to Jamie. What do you think?
I think there's a distinct possibility. Also, it might also, where she puts them might depend on Tingana's movements as well, depending on what kind of patrolling job he's doing. Since he at least believes he is the father, there's a chance that he's the father. And she doesn't want to encounter any random strange male leopards. And that's difficult at the moment because Mvula's bouncing about. I mean, he was on Djuma today. There's always the possibility of Sindile wandering around, and Kunyuma as well.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm I find it very interesting because I think that this general area is fairly devoid of female leopard life at the moment. And she's actually inside. She's pretty much, as we said last week, I think, in the corner between Tundi's territory and Shadow's territory. She's kind of tiny little area that she's operating in. There's enough to eat there, so I guess that's where she's going to be for now.
Could be the lions as well. I mean, we've had a lot of lion activity
in the north.
And also, I mean, the hyenas. There's been male lions up and down and around where that den was.
Yeah.
And that could also cause them to move. I mean, that's
skedaddle.
Yeah, it's if you're a hyena, the last thing you want around your den is a male lion.
Yeah. Now, in my opinion, of course, many of you, of course, are going to be very upset with me for saying this. I'm not sure that leopards are, in fact, the cutest cubs in the bush. I think what Jamie saw the other day constitutes the cutest animal in the bush.
Look what we've got. Little cub has, just as Mom rolled over, she dislodged the cub from suckling. Oh! Oh! Look at that. She's trying to get the cub to play with her tail. One of the most incredible sightings that we have had in a very long time. Really, really incredible. And I didn't know that that cub was there at all. In fact, it came as a total shock when the lioness was lying very far away, not on our traverse area. And Brent's looking at me out of the corner of his eye because he actually spent most of the morning staking out that site and waiting for the cubs to wander across, and they didn't. And I returned there that afternoon. VM said to me, that lioness has not moved. And then she did, and then there was a cub attached to her.
Amazing. I was on the other end of the radio and I was absolutely astonished. The final control went absolutely ballistic. Now, Brent, of course, had it been me there, you would have been very upset, but because you're such a gentleman, you were so pleased that Jamie got to share in the lion cub.
Even though it was Jamie, I was still jealous, I have to admit.
But better than if it had been me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vim and I played the patience game on that boundary for about an hour and a half of a flat lioness at 400 meters down the road. I was like, Vim, the cub's going to come. We just...
And how did...
Oh, baboon argument.
Baboon's very cross at the moment. How did you know that the cub was there?
I'd heard on the radio.
Oh, you'd heard on the radio, okay.
I heard there were 6 cubs there.
Ah, now that brings us neatly on to Anne's question. How many Styx cubs are there? 6, is that
11.
correct? 11. Wow. Oh, I didn't realise that. Okay.
So last I heard, one might have died.
Okay.
So,
one cub? Or...
One cub.
Right.
So apparently 11. So the oldest lioness only gave birth to 1 cub. The others gave birth to 5. Crazy. I know. Normally it's 3 or 4.
Yeah. 5 each.
5 each. And I think there's 4 Styx lionesses now. So somehow the numbers add up there. But the oldest lioness gave birth to 1 cub, and it was very unhealthy from the get-go. Apparently very skinny, not looking well. And I did hear from some of the other guys, it didn't look like she's lactating too well. So,
which is typical. I mean, that's just what happens when animals get old. I think, I mean, when we were watching those 3 lionesses with their 3 cubs before the Birminghams came in, that was known as a Styx breakaway, wasn't it? I mean,
it's very confusing.
Yeah. It is very confusing because we're obviously not in the central traverse of where they are.
And Styx breakaway is now joined back with the original Styx.
Yeah.
So I think there's 4, possibly 5 lionesses.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. And I mean, I've had 2 of them on Cheetah Plains as the only sign of the Styx, and apart from that, that sighting.
So I mean, the southern end of Djuma is the northern part of their territory, but of course now with our increased traverse on Cheetah Plains, the chances of seeing 11 little lion cubs all going ow, 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 which will just be too fantastic.
I do that western boundary every single time I go to Cheetah Plains looking for tracks.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to move on to our next clip now, which is of course not cubs. Unfortunately, Brent, I know that you were hoping for some Kahuma cubs. Have a look.
Success! We've got one of the lionesses here, another one. They haven't found each other. They're looking for each other, and this is the calling we've been hearing. And you can see this is one of the ones that's had babies. You can see the suckle marks. She is quite hungry. that fat belly we're seeing there is from her engorged nipples, because she has cubs at the moment. Now, I'm not sure which is lioness. This could be the one that's got the den side. So there is the amazing possibility of a pride of lions that we do traverse the center of their range having cubs. We know the one lioness has got 3 cubs. She's in Torchwood. Now, we're very, 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 very convinced that the second lioness has now given birth very close to Juma. So I spoke to Abel from Buffelshoek Hook this evening, and he found that Nkuma lioness on the Buffelshoek Hook boundary just to the north of us here, calling, but cub calling, not contact calling, that oh, oh, and pacing up and down in that little river system that flows into actually the back of Vuyatela Dam. Now, Herbert was with me. Herbert and I looked at each other.
Yes.
We walked slightly into the bush there, and as the thickets started shaking,
singing to you.
we decided we're brave, but we're not that brave.
I think that's a very wise move. What Brent means, everybody, is that, of course, the opportunity to go and track a lioness with cubs is always there. Of course, you have to be slightly suicidal to do it on a day like today when you cannot hear or smell anything. And so that lioness might be growling, telling you very nicely, step away, and you just keep blundering forward, whereupon she will probably launch herself from the bush at a great speed, and there is nothing on God's green earth more terrifying than a lioness coming at you out of a thicket with 2 little cubs behind her. You've stood down a lioness's charge before?
A couple of them, and once we accidentally blundered completely into the middle of her den site with the cubs behind us. We had no idea she was there. And actually, I had people with me, and I kept saying to them, okay, we're going to back up, we're going to back up. Why are you not moving? Oh, because there's cubs behind you. I see, I understand. Okay, fair enough. All right, we'll go that way then. It's always, it makes you feel very alive.
Spine chilling.
Afterwards. Yeah.
Yes. It does make you feel alive, I suppose. Gracie, aged 8, thank you so much for your very kind compliment. You were watching my hippo drawing in the tent today. Now, Gracie, I bet you could draw a hippo far better than I can, and I must apologise for those who had to watch my terrible art. But Gracie very kindly sent through a comment saying that she thought it was very nice. Gracie, that's very kind of you. Thank you so very much. Now, we're going to close off the show, of course, with a little song, as we always do. But this time there's going to be some participation from my 2 colleagues over here. Now, one of whom I know can sing, the other of whom is more tone deaf than the log I'm sitting on. But that's okay. We're going to do some... It's a talking kind of a thing. I don't want it to take too long. We're just going to do 1 verse and 1 chorus of this song, and the song is called Owls. Now, an owl in Shangaan is Shkova.
Shkova.
There we go. And the 1 bit of this chorus goes like this. Shkova shagu vitana, Shkova shagu vitana, Shkova shagu vitana. Okay, got it. That means the owl is calling you. The owl is calling you. So when I stamp on the ground, okay, you will know. And we'll have a quick practice here. It goes like this. So we'll go... the owl is calling your name. Now, while I'm doing that, you're going to be going Shkova shagu vitana, Shkova shagu vitana. The owl is calling your name. 1 brilliant, 1 utterly hopeless. Okay, here we go. Right, we'll just do 1 verse and then the chorus, and see you tomorrow, dark and early, 6:30. See you then. Sparrow wakes in the embers of sunrise, feathers ruffle in the cold morning air. A spider folds up a dew-sparkling web, a new day is born for me. A new day is born for me. Not just yet. I catch a scent in the cool of the dawn. Your eyes shine with the morning sun. I catch your scent and my spirit's lonely voice. I hear you dance in the mist. Owl is calling your name. Shkova shagu vitana, Shkova shagu vitana,
Shkova shagu vitana, Shkova shagu vitana.